Welcome. So, before we get into the story, I kept getting the vibe of I'm so glad I waited. The story of Ava, the character that we're about to get into, I think that she really reflects the energy of I'm so glad I waited. I'm so glad I waited. If those words mean anything to you, keep on listening and I will speak to you soon. All right, so we have a story about Ava. So Ava is seen kind of just hanging out with herself for a second. She's taking a step back from everything that's going on. I see that Ava maybe has had the tendency to rush into things or make conclusions really, really fast. This can be about love, life in general, or like her career, but Ava is usually a very fast action type of thinker. So Ava is really trying to master just taking a step back before making any quick decisions. The best thing that she can do in this moment is to have a silent mind. Instead of having a million and one things to do in her head, she's just learning to really just take a step back and realize that it's okay to quiet the mind for just a second and really collect your thoughts. In the past, like I said, she's used to jumping into things really, really fast and kind of just making quick decisions. But now is the time for her to realize that maybe taking a step back and analyzing the whole entire plan and project or thing that she wants to do to see the bigger picture of it all can be her best ability at this moment. So she's in this moment of her life where she can see that whatever she's about to do is going to be a big turning point in her life. But she needs to kind of be strategic when it comes to how this thing is going to come out, because even if she makes the smallest of a difference of a move, it can alter the entirety of how her project or how her life is going to turn out. So she really has to be strategic and not be in that fight or flight mode that she's kind of used to being in and rushing to get to the outcome. I'm getting this whole I'm so glad I waited. I'm so glad I waited. So she's learning the importance of just being patient with herself, with her intuition, with maybe people around her. She's learning that not everything needs to be a rush. And sometimes when things are rushed, they don't come out the way that she wants it to be. And she kind of has to go back to the drawing board in the end. I feel this sense of like calmness coming from her of, I'm so glad I waited. I'm so glad I didn't go with my first instinct to jump to this place or jump to this direction. I'm so glad I waited. So, whatever she's going through right now, it seems as though the best option for her was that she waited and that maybe she didn't, give up or maybe jump too fast and think that something wasn't going to happen because it didn't happen yet and she just waited it out. I'm getting this picture of this there's kind of a picture that goes around and it's like this person who's just chipping away at I don't know, it's like an underground type of thing or whatever it is. He's like chipping away at it. He's chipping away. And there's another person underneath who is just turning around as soon as they reach the end of the wall. So both people are chipping away at the same thing but the picture looks like two different levels. So neither one of them can see each other, but they're both doing the same exact thing. However, one of them turns around before they reach the end, and little do they know that person that was chipping away was just one chip away from reaching the end goal, which was the pot of gold, and he just turned away before he could even see that gold. But the person on top is just, he keeps going. He's just going. He never gives up. So I guess I said that because I think right now we see Ava learning to just keep going and not giving up when things don't really seem like they're happening. Ava's the type of person who, if she doesn't see quick results, it doesn't even have to be quick, but if she doesn't see results in a good time frame, she kind of just starts to lose hope and she starts to give up in a sense. So what she needs to do right now is to trust in herself and trust that whatever she's chipping at is going to work out if she keeps chipping at it. She's going to find that pot of gold if she keeps going at it. But if she turns around and just gives up because she doesn't see any outcome or she doesn't see any gold, she's going to miss out on what was meant for her in the first place. And that other person that was on top in the analogy that I gave you, who keeps chipping regardless, they're going to end up getting what you should have got first. So I think right now Ava just needs to learn to relax, trust herself, and keep chipping at whatever she's working on. Even if she doesn't get the quick result that she's looking for or the outcome that she's looking for, she should never give up. So I think that by her saying, I'm so glad I waited, it seems like something is happening for her. She's starting to see that gold. She's starting to see the little glistening of the gold, the pot of gold. And she's so close to that pot of gold. That's all I keep getting. I'm so glad I waited. It's funny because Ava is also realizing that she has to keep sticking up for herself and like sticking up for her, not only her dreams, but the way that she conducts herself and the way that she moves through life to obtain these dreams. She's learning to focus more on what she wants instead of what other people want for her. She's also learning that, people can sometimes be distractions that lead her away from what she's actually aiming to do. And I think that Ava is so strong. She's so beautiful inside and out, and she needs to realize how much she shines without even trying. And Ava is the type of person who has these like plans for herself in her future that some people might not agree with, and that's okay. I think Ava needs to realize that if people have objections or if people have these feelings about what she should be doing with her life or what is right for her, then she needs to acknowledge all of these ideas and all of this outside opinions about her and her life, acknowledge it, but don't let it blur her own intuition, her own feelings about what she should be doing and what's right for her. Because the only person that knows what's right for her is her. She's the type of person who can not only let people get in her way, but she gets in her own way a lot of the times. She can get stuck on one thing for a long time, almost to the point where nothing gets like done, if that makes sense. She gets really stuck on one thing. Maybe she's trying to perfect this thing for so long that she looks down and it's been like 3 months, and nothing has gotten done. Right now she needs to open her eyes a little bit wider, pick her head up and look around her and realize that she is the creator of her own world. She doesn't need to do things a certain way or hyperfixate on something and make sure every little detail is perfect, because whatever she does will be perfect. Whatever she creates will be perfect because she is the creator of her own world. She doesn't need to follow any rule book or any type of playbook or direction. She can create her own direction. She can create her own rules. So right now she just needs to let go of all expectations, all previous thoughts of how things should be, or, making sure she's dotting her I's and crossing her T's and all this extra stuff, and just go for what she feels is right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but realize that whatever she touches and whatever she creates in her mind is perfect because She herself is perfect. She creates her own world. What her world looks like is not what anyone else's world is going to look like. And that's what makes her perfect. That's what makes her the creator, the visionary. She's this creative, visual person who can touch anything and make it into gold. So there's really no rule book for her. So now that she realizes this, it's like her path suddenly becomes crystal clear of what she's supposed to do. And she's no longer like thinking something has to be a certain way or else it's not going to work. She's realizing that whatever I do is going to work. She's realizing that whatever I do, whatever I touch, whatever I think about is going to work because I'm a visionary. I'm the creator of my own world. So like everything is now like crystal clear, crystal clear, almost as clear as water. She can see her path right in front of her. She knows exactly what to do. And it's like she does one thing and she gets another idea. She gets another idea on top of that. And then that idea turned into a bigger idea. And it just keeps multiplying and it keeps turning into this thing that she never thought would even happen or turn out to be in the first place. So I really love this for Ava because now she's really realizing the queen that she is, the overall creator that she is, how powerful she is. She really doesn't need to rush in any way because in the past when she would rush through things or jump to conclusions or whatever she used to do, it would just lead her into this type of energy that would kind of reflect onto her life. It would reflect back into how life came at her. So if she was in a frantic mood or if she was doing things very rushed or not in the best energy, people would come at her in almost the same manner. So she would end up bumping into people that would make her feel rushed or make her feel not so good when she left them, or just very negative interactions with people, and also negative interactions with her work life and her family life. And it was just making a big domino effect of negative energy. So I think she's realizing like, okay, when I pace myself, back to that, I'm so glad I waited. When you pace yourself, when you calm down all things around you, including your energy, everything just kind of follows suit. And people start mirroring this type of calm energy and things just kind of start working out mysteriously. She's starting to realize that when I'm calm, everything else around me is calm. But when I'm frantic, when I'm in a negative energy, then things around me are negative. And, it seems as though the world is falling down. But that's where her power is starting to show up more in her life because she's starting to realize, wow, okay, when I'm in this positive mindset, when I'm more positive, everything else around me is positive magically. So it's a nice story. I like this story because she's realizing how powerful she is and how life moves around her instead of her moving around life, if that makes sense. All she really has to do is just kind of sit and be this beautiful being that she is and soak in all the good energy and also give back the good energy. So it's this perfect world of just good energy, positive energy, good things are always happening, and it's really beautiful when you look at it. And now that she's realizing, the magnitude of her power, her internal power, and how her energy reflects her life, she's realizing that she can practically control her life in this kind of funny, weird way, but it works for her. She can control how things work out if she learns to control her energy and move a little bit slower instead of being so frantic and thinking that she has to do a million things at one time. I think she's realizing now that her best guide is her own self, basically. Like she is her own guide. She's the person that can give her the best advice. She's listening to herself now more. She's learning to trust her instincts, trust the pace of how her life is going, and not thinking that she's running out of time, because this is her own world, and whatever she does, however she moves, the world will reflect that. And whether it's a positive or negative way, it's all going to be in a way that is needed for her to grow in the best way possible. Yeah, and so now now Ava is just laser focused. She sees exactly what she's supposed to do. She has a good head on her shoulders. She's now really trusting herself and trusting that every choice that she makes is going to play out in her best interest. And I just really love this for Ava. I think Ava is a special girl and she is realizing this. I really like this character because I think Ava has the potential to create really good things and big things when she learns to pace herself and learns to follow her gut instinct. It's really nice because we find out that Ava is this woman who is so warm and she has this vibe of her of a queen, and she's learning to recognize that queens don't need to rush. If you're a man watching, kings don't need to rush either. And what we learn in Ava's story is that patience and pacing yourself is key, especially in the energy that you want to receive back. Because when you're in this rushed kind of energy, everything else reflects that in a way. In my opinion, being rushed is like a negative energy. So when you're in that type of energy, everything in life will come at you the same way. When you're in this relaxed state of mind, everything else kind of follows and people kind of mirror you. So when you speak to people in a more calm manner, when you do things in a more calm manner, everything comes back to you in a calm manner and nothing feels as if it's running out of time or it's in a rush state or it needs to get done right now. When you are in tune with yourself, everything mirrors you. When you're upset, you get bad outcomes. When you're happy, everything else is happy and you get happy outcomes in life. And it doesn't have to necessarily be a thing. It can be just the energy and how things play out. So I think Ava's story is really, really nice. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Let me know down below if you resonate with anything. And yeah, I will speak to you again in the next one. Bye-bye.